Welcome to the next episode of the ABCs of ERP and Beyond, where we explore the world of enterprise resource planning and its impact on businesses today. In this episode, we'll be taking a closer look at Acumatica Distribution Edition. As businesses grow, it becomes increasingly more important to have a robust distribution management system in place to effectively manage inventory, sales, and purchasing. And Acumatica Distribution Edition is designed to do just that. And joining me, as ever, is Nirav.shah. Welcome back.
Hello, Peter. Happy to be here. Happy to talk about Acumatica, a solution that we know very well. And I think this is going to be a really fun podcast. We're going to be showing the product and talking about how it could help distributors in many different ways. So I think more and more we're seeing a lot of people kind of starting distribution companies or some form or fashion getting into distribution. And I see, where systems like Acumatica could really help drive, ROI and help drive efficiency in those businesses so they could manage and focus more on customer service than the back end software processes. So this is going to be a fun session to talk about, because I think this really does impact a lot of people that are in this space every single day, because everything around us, right, ultimately has to be distributed. Think about the keyboard, think about the mice, think about I recently bought this hotspot. So, this has to be distributed. Yeah, there's a manufacturer to it, but the manufacturer made it and maybe sent it to a retailer, or they sent it to another distributor online. And then ultimately, I became a customer and bought it. But there was a lot of processes involved through various different systems to get it to me, right? And what we're going to talk about today is how those processes could, become a lot more streamlined than what I see generally, especially those distributors that are starting out. And we've done a couple episodes on, which way you should start out, what type of system should you use when you're starting out. And I think this is a perfect segue to that episode where we talk about, jump straight away into an ERP system, because it's going to give you the out of the box processes you need and give you the platform to scale and springboard to the next level, and then to the next level, and then to the next level, right? As your business grows, because you could focus on customer service and focus on that customer feedback properly. So I'm excited about today, and excited about showing, Acumatica and how it could support distributors using their specific Acumatica edition.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I don't really know a lot about Acumatica, certainly nowhere near as much as you. I've only really seen Navision, Business Central, the awesome QuickBooks that we've covered before. But I've never really seen Acumatica, so this is going to be probably a learning exercise for me. So I'm really excited to see what it brings to the table. But before we get there, let's just have a quick chat about, imagine if we're a distributor and we don't immediately go for an ERP, and what kind of impact that has.
Yeah, I mean, there's many, and there's a lot that a lot of people take for granted when they start a distribution company or are in distribution, right? Because this environment is very fast paced. It requires some level of tribal knowledge, right? That is sometimes, thought of that it can't translate to actual system processes in a software. So that, in essence, creates multiple issues because of the tribal knowledge, because of the fast-paced nature of the industry itself. So what happens is you start creating band-aids. So you say, oh, we went from stocking 10 items to now we stock 100 items. So let's use Excel. That's the first band-aid. To kind of look at how we could, essentially manage our inventory so everyone could see it. Now with Office 365, right, everyone could have access to a simple spreadsheet and see what the inventory levels are. But now you got to manage that spreadsheet, right, manually. So for example, if you ship something, you got to go back in the spreadsheet and reduce inventory manually. If you receive something, you got to go into the spreadsheet, either add a new line if it's an item that wasn't stocked, or update, calculate in your head, yeah, I was at, 5 gallons. We ordered another five, received in five, so I should be 10 gallons. But wait, one of the gallons was defective. So we really have nine, so we can't sell 10,
Yeah.
right? So you gotta have, you have to have that, you got to create that process. And then you have, okay, you know what? Before I was able to just look at my bank statement and understand, what my profit was. I could see quickly, how much expenses I got because I was just getting in cash, and then I was just basically booking that as my, you know, revenue, my sale, because it was happening right away. But now I actually offer credit terms to customers. Now
Mm.
customers don't pay me right away. It takes them 30 days. Well, I need to invoice them. Okay, well, I think I need an accounting system. So here comes the second band-aid. Let's get QuickBooks. Let's get QuickBooks right away, right? And now at least I could create an invoice and I could send it out the door, and QuickBooks will journalize it. It'll go ahead and credit revenue and debit AR, right?
Yeah.
Might not do the cost side because that's something we didn't remember about because, we have the Excel spreadsheet on this side, and we'll leave that, and then we'll leave that up to our accountant, right? And then, you get to a point, oh, you know what? We have these leads that are coming in of these customers that want to buy things from us, but we don't know where they are in the sales cycle. We forget if we had sent them a quote or if we sent them pricing. I need a CRM. Let's go. There comes the third band-aid. Let's
Yeah.
let's go get a CRM now and let's start using it because we're growing. Well, what's happening is you're not focusing on the core of the business at that point. Now you're now managing all these other systems that in turn take more of your time because you're trying to keep it updated manually each time. Because once you do a sale, you gotta update the inventory spreadsheet, right? Then you got to get the AR done in QuickBooks. Then you got to close the opportunity in the CRM, and you're now
Yeah.
managing this all manually, right? Taking so much of your time. And what happens? You really don't. Then you stop losing focus on what your true margins are because you're so busy managing these two or three other systems that you have. You don't understand how much inventory you're carrying because you're just popping out POs without knowing, well, hey, how much sales are we going to be getting actually? What's projected sales, right? Over the course of maybe 5 months, should I be ordering, every 2 months, or should I be ordering every week, right? You're not going to have that visibility because half of your sales are going to be in CRM. The other half that are immediate, right, might be done in QuickBooks, and then you have to update the Excel spreadsheet. So you really have no idea in terms of timeliness what that inventory is going to be, or how you can take advantage of better cost and pricing with your vendors. Right? You're gonna be very reactive than proactive in nature. Okay,
Yeah.
because quote unquote everybody feels that, oh, distribution, it's easy. It's easy. You don't got to worry about it. You buy something and then you sell it to a customer. That's all we do, right? We're not doing any manufacturing. We're not, doing any of this other stuff. We don't have to capture labor. We're not running a project here. It's not a construction business. But guys, I have some news for you, right? Fundamentally, you still have to operate your business as if you're a manufacturer, as if you're a construction company, because you need to know your cost. Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of holes in the distribution industry. If you're a startup distributor, if you're running a small eBay business, if you're running a small, Amazon business, right? And you feel that you could do all these things with two, three, four different solutions, I hate to break it to you, but you're creating holes in your processes. Think about a bucket of water, and every unique system that you are using that's not connected, drill a hole in that bucket and see how quickly the water is gone, right? And you get down to QuickBooks. When was the last time that was updated? Well, are you running Office 365 or are you running Office 2008? Right? Is your Excel spreadsheet capable to do complex calculations? Right? You're running maybe outdated systems. You're not taking advantage of best practice. You're not taking advantage of what better, smarter, more efficient companies are doing. Your competitors. So it's
Yeah.
important that you look at it from that landscape and say, Yeah, yeah. I can't just get by and try to quote unquote put these band-aids in place and hope the band-aids stay and they don't rip off by mistake, right? With like a process that you didn't think about, and now the whole train is going to be a train wreck, right? Because think about what
Mm.
happens to a band-aid. A band-aid will ultimately fall off, and you got to apply another band-aid, and then it's
Yeah,
going to leave a scar, right? And then it's
yeah,
so why not look at a full-blown solution. And that's what I'm hoping we can do today is
hmm
look at one of many solutions. Acumatica, we resell Acumatica, we understand the solution, we've implemented in distributors, so we understand some of the best practices there. So how Acumatica, for instance, their distribution edition is going to help distributors really become successful in their field and give them an edge on their competition so they could quickly scale and grow without having to worry about, you know, simple data entry tasks that at this day and age should be handled in a system like this.
yeah. I've seen the statistic that says, going back to the Excel issue, reminded me of a statistic I read that said that 88% of spreadsheets have errors. 88%.
Wow. Wow. That's
And you
crazy.
know what it's like when you get someone at work that's like the Excel wizard, and they do a hell of a load of VBA in there
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
these really complex macros. Then they leave. Then eventually, over time, with no maintenance to the spreadsheet, something breaks, and
Yep.
it's like, well, what do we do now? I actually knew someone that said that they'd left a company, and they still get calls from them asking them questions about an Excel file that they built. How do you do this? Okay, can you come and help
Oh
us
my
fix this?
gosh. Oh
It's
my
crazy.
gosh. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. I mean, if that one person that was managing that Excel file goes out the door, well, let me tell you, you won't. It's going to be hard to find, let's say, another partner that understands how to manage that spreadsheet, or the exact person in the world that knows how to manage the exact spreadsheet. But
Yeah,
yeah, you may be able to create another spreadsheet with somebody else that could fill that role. But is
yeah.
that the right thing to do? Right? You got to ask
Well,
yourself, right?
this is the thing, because if you continue down that path, you end up using as Excel as
Yeah,
a form of a database,
yeah,
as
yeah,
data
yeah,
storage, and it's not designed to be that at all.
yeah. And what happens if Jim, John, Beth they take vacation and you're still shipping, right? You haven't shut down this plant. You haven't shut down, the warehouse, but now inventory is not being updated. Oh boy. Well, do we know what we're selling, right? Are we over promising to customers when we don't have inventory? Well, we got to wait till Jim, John, or Beth come back, from vacation. Then we're gonna have to update the spreadsheet, and then we have to make sure that the inventory is updated. It's a complete mess.
Yeah.
So, having the right processes in place and having the right system is the starting point. And we can't stress this
hmm
enough. You got to have the right system immediately. So, when you're ready, when you're growing, these are things that you don't have to worry about. They're not a headache for you. You don't have to lose sleep over it overnight because the system handles these things automatically, through the database in terms of its, inherent processes.
Okay, I don't really know a lot about Acumatica, so I'm really excited to see what it can do for us. So, should we have a whistle stop tour of what is available?
Absolutely, absolutely. Right here in front of us, I have Acumatica up. This is a fully cloud solution, so I could access Acumatica, either from the web browser. I could access it from my mobile phone. There's an app for it. I could access it on a tablet. So a lot of different ways I could access this Acumatica True Cloud solution. As soon as I get in here, it's kind of like a user-based security. So if I'm, a salesperson or a purchasing person, I should only see that view or only those type of orders associated to me. As soon as I log in here, I have the distribution flow up. So this is really neat and handy, especially if you want to train new employees or want to kind of see where you are in the process here. So this is kind of a quick flow that tells you from supplier to purchasing to warehousing, right? You need to transfer orders. You have a retail outlet, counter sale, and directly to the customer. so on and so forth. So if I'm in this flow and I kind of forget, I need to create a purchase order, well, I could just select create purchase order, and this will open up a new tab and take me into the purchase order entry screen for me really quickly, right? So, it's very intuitive from that standpoint. So imagine, if you're using multiple systems, just to kind of put it in perspective, you would have to go through QuickBooks, create a purchase order, and then when you receive it, you'd have to receive it on your Excel file. So here, instead, I could quickly create a purchase order and have it automatically update my inventory, right? So if I were to kind of look at some purchasing options, and by the way, on the left-hand side are different modules that I have access to that I could see very quickly here. Okay, so if I were to go to purchases and I wanted to see and do a purchase receipt or look at an existing purchase order, I could go to a purchase order, right? And this is all information, right? If you don't want somebody to have access to QuickBooks, but you want them to have access only to their purchase orders that they're putting into the system, purchasing is a heavy component of any distributor. Well, I could see all my purchase orders in one view. I could open up a purchase order here. So here in this purchase order, right, we see that it's a closed purchase order. We can see the status. We see the receipt, linked receipt record, and we see the linked bill, which is essentially the AP invoice. So at this point, if I wanted to open up this receipt record that's in history, I could see the date that the receipt took place. Okay, I could see all the items that we received in, right? And I could then see if there was a bin or if there's anything open, if there's a lot number or serial number that's associated to this item. I could see that here very quickly. Okay, and financially, if I want to look at line details, I could look at to see if there was a specific location that this went into when I received in the inventory. So it went directly straight away into a storage location. And if I go to billing, here's our bill that's associated with this. You see all this data stays connected. Here's our bill information. So it was vendor bill number 34321. I could open up the bill, and I could see the actual invoice. If there was an attachment to this invoice, I'd be able to see it. If there's any notes to this invoice, I could quickly see it. I could see the bill was for the same amount. Okay, and then if I want to see the journal entries the system made, I can see that by my batch number. So now you notice, in a typical environment when you have multiple systems, you're in Excel, now you're in QuickBooks, then you're in Excel, and now I'm back in QuickBooks. But in this example, what I want to show is that we're doing everything in a single system. I put my financial hat on. Let's say I'm the cost accountant or the controller, and I want to see the journal entries the system made. Well, here we go. We have it. I could dig into the subledger, look at the records, drill directly into the financials, and see the system made a entry to accounts payable as a credit, and then we have PO accrual, which is our inventory accrual, as a debit all the way through. So which is really nice because that's one less thing you're worrying about when you're running a distribution business. It's all connected for you, right? So when that inventories come in, I'm gonna close out of here, close out a few of these screens, and let's say I go into my sales side and I look at open sales orders. So I went to the sales module, went to sales orders. I'm going to open up a sales order. I can see the status of these orders. I can see that it's shipping, or it's completed, or it's open, right? Or it's been invoiced. So that's a real nice feature. So I'm not having to hunt and peg, or make 5 different phone calls across the organization to say, hey, where are we with this order? Or did we invoice it? Or is it in shipping? Is it not in shipping, right? I quickly see that from a single screen here for us. So if I wanted to go into a specific sales order, I'll take USA Bartending, for example. Let's look at the sales order here. It tells us the item, how much the sales order is for, the item that we sold. But I also see here on the bottom, on-hand inventory. We have 905 available on hand. How much is available is 903. So that must mean there's 2 that's already allocated to some orders out there, right? We have some available to ship, 898, which is all good stuff. Item availability. If I want to take a closer look at my inventory, if I'm a salesperson, that's really important to me. With the connected system like Acumatica, I could take the lines on a line-by-line level, look at the item availability. System will open up a new tab and kind of see a chronological view of the inventory as it's coming in right? So I could see how much inventory I should have in total, right? So except we have 905 on hand, we have available 898, and we could go ahead and issue 902, right? So this is all helpful information. Instead of going to bouncing back and forth to all these different systems, you could see all this in a single environment, right? So as you grow, this is one less kind of hurdle you have to go through because you are streamlining your data, right? Essentially. So I'm going to close out of my inventory inquiry screen. As I go through here, you can have automatic tax calculations. Not have to worry about tax as you're putting in orders. There's solutions like Avalara and CCH sales tax from Walters Kluwer's that will automatically calculate tax. If you have those specific rules that are necessary for your business, well, that could be already integrated within a solution like Acumatica, so you could get accurate tax reporting and not have to worry about is the right tax being calculated based on customer, what about usage on the vendor, right? It all happens kind of automatically. Commissions, you could access commissions and put commissions on your sales orders financially, right? What accounts are you going to hit in the system? Shipping, right? Are you going to ship it via FedEx? Are you going to ship it UPS? Right? A lot of distributors do small parcel shipping. Well, that's fully integrated in a system like Acumatica. Get rates, print labels directly from your orders, right? Do quotes and so on and so forth. So it's real nice. That's another system we didn't even talk about. Is it could be like ShipStation. It could be Easy Post. Well, if you're using any of these, right, which is another solution, and you use this to ship, well, that could be integrated into an ERP system like Acumatica, for example. So now that's one less system you have to manage manually, right? So what have we done so far is that we've kind of identified ways to get rid of the spreadsheet, looking at inventory control, looking at purchase orders, looking at the audit trail for purchasing. We kind of are going through the sales order process. So if you're putting in orders through QuickBooks, and then so you might not have to do that. And then we talked about the shipping side. If you're using a third-party shipping solution like maybe UPS World Ship or ShipStation or something like that, well, you don't have to manage that. You could do everything within the same system, right? So we basically are taking three systems and have basically consolidated it down to being able to do all that in a single system so far, right? And the opportunities are endless. You could keep going on and on and on to look at these different areas of how ERP, Acumatica, and other solutions can take out that extra overhead of management and keep it onto a single platform here, right? Kind of continuing on here, you could add multiple ship tos here. You see your payments, totals, right? You could really get to the level of detail that you need to make better business decisions instead of having to jump from system to system. So, what does this all mean is you're more proactive than you are reactive ultimately to, run your business efficiently on a system like Acumatica.
This is really interesting. It looks like you could probably roll this out to each department as well. Is that right? So you could have
Absolutely.
the logistics manager or warehouse manager. He log in and see things just for shipping that he would deal with, or your controller would have a financial dashboard. Is that how this
Yeah.
works?
That's correct. So there's a ton of different dashboards that are delivered out of the box. So these dashboards are associated to users. So let's say if I was a controller and I wanted to see this dashboard every time I logged into Acumatica, well, these are some of the details that you'll see. It's very color coordinated. It helps you really understand the items you need to take action on right away, and keep the business moving forward, right? Anything in green, for example, you see here, that means you're good. There's nothing out of tolerance here. Things that are in red, right? I see a lot of red in my demo environment, for instance. That means that, hey, there's some issue going on here. Are we not processing our transactions on time? Are we not collecting, on our receivables timely? Are we not invoicing timely? That could also be an issue. You could have shipping ship all the stuff out that they need to, but if your front end team doesn't know when they complete the shipping that something has to be invoiced, now you have all these invoices kind of piling up, and you're not going to get paid on them until you generate those invoices. So that also helps with the identifying where are your issues in the system, and a system like this will help resolve those issues and make them more timely. Going to dashboards again, if I want to see, let's say, shipping, and I want to look at my shipping, what's going on today. I walk in here in my shipping department. I got shipments that are overdue. I have 5 ready to pick and pack. Right. I want to go ahead and ready to ship orders here. I have these lists that get created for me, so I could go ahead and monitor and quickly take action for these orders without having to look at what's my backlog list. Okay, now we have another system. There's another Excel spreadsheet that we took an order from this spreadsheet, put it onto another spreadsheet, and this is my back orders. Well, the system does it all for you. You can place orders on, system will automatically back order, and when things come in, tell you that they're available to ship.
This is really nice. I love the idea of the kind of traffic light system on these tiles. Are they thresholds customizable?
They are. Yep. You could go into all of them. You could design them, decide how you're gonna go ahead and identify the widget. How you're gonna add the color on there. What's your tolerance levels, and really make this your own. So when you look at it, it kind of relates to how you're managing the business or that specific department.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is cool.
So yeah, it's really important for distributors to really, as part of your planning process of what the deployment will look like for your business, is to think about the system that you're going to use. Are you going to use a right system out of the gate that's going to help you succeed, right? And establish processes properly so you're not applying band-aids everywhere? Or are you applying band-aids, and once you decide to go on a system like that, is it too late because maybe you've lost some strategic customers because you just couldn't react to them on time. You couldn't deliver to them on time. You couldn't invoice to them on time. You're providing bad pricing because you didn't have an integrated system like this, right? Does it get too late, right? Or should you start with this up front? And I think kind of, part of that is just never too late to start and get into a system like this. But, I really wish that you go through, losing some strategic customers in order for you to think about that as time to get into a fully connected system, a business management system like Acumatica. I really hope that companies can make the decision early on instead of applying these band-aids everywhere, because when you peel back those band-aids, a lot of those scars don't heal properly.
And I really like the idea of being able to have this all in one package, and through a good implementation, when it's set up, then good data is always going in. And the more and more you have of this historical data, this build-up of data, is only just going to provide, you're going to have a nice positive feedback loop of having good insights of where your trends are, in terms of like capacity management or your supply chain management. So this is really good to have it all in one ecosystem, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you hit the nail right on the head. So I really think that ultimately there's a lot of value in understanding your business and get all the departments connected and talking to each other. There's no reason for them to work in silos, right? Businesses, need to be able to be agile, and they need to be able to pivot very quickly on customer demands. And this is a great way to ensure that you could have that flexibility to keep your customers happy at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think this will be the first of many episodes we're going to do on Acumatica. I really want to see some of the stuff it can do. I'm really interested to see some of the automation. I know you said about QuickBooks that you would then have to, maybe you're shipping something and then you have to manually invoice afterwards. So I really want to see. Look, I'm a lazy guy, so I'll take any automation that's available. So I really want to see some of that stuff.
Yeah, and it's more and more. Automation is the new wave, and there's a lot of tasks that could be automated day to day. And with a system like Acumatica, the opportunities are endless to automate. So absolutely, I think one of our future podcasts, we're for sure going to look at that. So stay tuned.
Yeah, watch this space. Yeah. I really want to see that. I want to see that, and I'm just giving you, yeah, to-do list things to show Pete. um, my other one, KPIs.
Yeah,
I think KPIs I would like to see, both
absolutely.
customer facing, so maybe ones around delivery performance. I'd like to see how that is handled in something like Acumatica.
Yeah.
Well, hop to it. Start preparing for a nice. Good. I think this is good. It's been a nice, quick introduction on what the system can do and the pain points that it can solve. We've spoken a few times, I think, in terms of pain points felt in the distribution sector. So now we're getting to actually see the tools, which is really
Mhm.
cool. So yeah, thanks for giving
Yeah.
us a quick whistle top tour
Yeah.
around Acumatica.
I appreciate it. One of many. One of many. So.
Very good. Well, it's been a pleasure as always, nirav.shah. Thank you once
Thank
again.
you. Thank
And
you,
until
Peter.
next time, take care.
Absolutely. Take care.